Right now, a new bill at the state capitol looks to formally recognize racial profiling and give victims a chance to fight back. And more leadership changes at the Beloit School District as the board president steps down.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
Good afternoon, I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 Now on this Friday afternoon. Heavy snow is headed our way. Let's head over to the Weather Center. Meteorologist Chris Reese has a look at your first alert forecast. When's it going to start, Chris?
It's going to be starting right around that evening commute time, Mark. And we've been watching this storm all morning long towards the south and west, creating problems across states like Missouri, Nebraska, Iowa, and Illinois, creating even heavier snow at times than what was initially forecast. So here's what we see on the map right now. This is already beginning to knock on the door for folks right along the Mississippi River Valley, and it will continue to move in as we go through the next couple of hours. Now, one of the things I want to point out, you see radar starting to show snowflakes flying in places like our southwestern counties. The air is still fairly dry. That's not reaching the ground just yet, but you see the clouds on the increase. Here's what I want to show you. That temperature is 23, but the dew point is -5. When the temperature and the dew point are that far apart, it's not going to snow. But I do think it's going to overcome that deficit in terms of moisture as we get you further into the afternoon. So by the time you get ready to head home, plan for the snow. If you could leave early, I'd advise you to leave early just to get less cars on the road for that evening commute time that I do believe is going to be a mess. We're going to continue to time out when the snow arrives, the impacts, and how much I believe we'll see coming up in a few minutes, Mark.
All right, Chris, I think I'm going to leave now. You want to take over?
Yeah, sure. Okay. I've got you. Let's go. All right.
I'll wait. I'll see you in a few minutes. Representative Sheila Stubbs is introducing legislation to create a civil cause of action for racially motivated police calls. Stubbs says it's time to end racial profiling by proxy in Wisconsin, including black and brown people having police called on them when they're engaging in legal everyday activities. The bill would allow victims of color to sue callers up to $250 for calling the police with the intent to cause harm.
This bill creates a pathway to justice for victims who are feeling humiliated, discriminated, the fear from having the police called on them for doing nothing but existing. What it comes down to is being in the wrong race in the wrong place.
Stubbs is the first African-American ever elected from Dane County to the state legislature. She herself has been a victim of racial profiling when police were called on her in 2018 when she was campaigning in a predominantly white neighborhood. Beloit School Board President is resigning. Pamela Charles made the announcement through a Facebook post saying the district needs to move on and focus on healing during another administrative transition. Her decision comes after the board approved the resignation of Superintendent Dr. Stanley Monroe. A formal complaint was filed against him, alleging he intimidated staff. The Richland Center Police Commission has selected Acting Chief Billy Jones to take over the position full-time. Jones has been with the department since 2004 and served as lieutenant before taking over as acting chief last June. His role as acting chief came after the previous chief, Lucas Clements, was put on paid administrative leave and ultimately resigned after a months-long investigation into allegations of sexual assault. Clements is due back in court on those charges on Wednesday. Developing this afternoon, the Pentagon is revising its assessment after Iran's retaliatory missile strike last week on 2 bases in Iraq. It was initially reported no U.S. troops were killed or injured, but now U.S. Central Command says 11 service members suffered concussions in the attacks. They were removed from Iraq for treatment, and each is being monitored for signs of traumatic brain injury. The pretrial proceedings in President Trump's impeachment trial are officially underway in the Senate. It began yesterday with the reading of charges and the swearing in of senators as jurors. It resumes Tuesday with Chief Justice John Roberts presiding over just the 3rd impeachment trial in the nation's history. Natalie Brand has the latest from Capitol Hill.
Things appertaining to
As House impeachment managers and President Trump's attorneys prepare for next week's opening arguments, Democrats are still calling for new witness testimony to be part of the trial.
You cannot have a trial without witnesses.
For witnesses to appear, it would take agreement from all the Senate Democrats and at least 4 Republicans. Senate Republicans Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, and Mitt Romney have all indicated they might support that.
We're going to vote on that at the appropriate time after we listen to the arguments.
House Democrats say new evidence continues to emerge that helps their case that the president pressured Ukraine to announce an investigation into the Bidens.
I should be their number one witness because I'm the one that got all the dirt.
Former Trump donor and indicted businessman Lev Parnas says he was the man President Trump and his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, entrusted with getting Ukraine to announce the investigation.
President Trump knew exactly what was going on.
I don't know him at all.
Friday morning, President Trump added several new members to his legal defense team, including constitutional attorney Alan Dershowitz and Ken Starr, the independent counsel in the investigation that led to President Clinton's impeachment.
This thing is a big hoax. It's a big hoax.
While the president insists he did nothing wrong to warrant impeachment, the Government Accountability Office, a nonpartisan federal watchdog, found the administration violated federal law by withholding more than $200 million in military aid from Ukraine. There are 53 Republicans in the 100-seat Senate. It would take 67 votes to convict the president and remove him from office. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Well, Busch Beer wants to make the cold months go down a little smoother for people living in states prone to heavy snowfalls this winter, including Wisconsin. The company is running a snow day promotion. People living in the Midwest and the Great Lakes will get $1 off for every inch of snow that falls in their state. This is going on now through March 20th. You have to save your receipt, and rebates will be issued via a prepaid gift card. And this weekend's snowstorm will make things difficult for UW-Madison students returning to campus for the spring semester. Street crews are expected to be out clearing roads tomorrow, and streets are already crowded from students moving in. City officials recommend planning for traffic delays if you're going to be downtown this weekend. If you can find snowplow alerts and updates on the City of Madison's website. And the Wisconsin DNR is hosting a free fishing weekend starting tomorrow. Residents can fish almost anywhere without a license or trout stamp this weekend. The DNR is also hosting several ice fishing workshops around the state. We have a link to all of that on our website, channel3000.com. And there's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Pork chops, so good, I have a feeling you'll be licking your plate clean. And the best part, it takes less than 15 minutes to make from start to finish. When it comes to getting dinner on the table night after night, it gets pretty challenging to come up with new, fresh ideas. Well, no worries, because I have a quick throw-together one-pan wonder that'll do just that. We start by sprinkling a few thick-cut pork chops with lemon pepper seasoning. These get sautéed in a heavy skillet until they're nicely browned on both sides, which takes just minutes. Once they're cooked just the way you like them, take them out and add some balsamic vinegar, chicken broth, and a bit of brown sugar right to the skillet. Let it simmer until it starts to reduce slightly and thicken up. Then, come dinner time, spoon the sweet and tangy glaze over the chops and call the troops to the table. And since it was all cooked in one pan, cleanup is a breeze. To get the recipe for our juicy and flavorful balsamic pork chops, all you need to do is visit our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a fun change of pace way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Thank you, Howard. Next at noon, a plan ahead for some snow during the evening commute. That snowfall is expected to continue into tomorrow with bitter cold wind chills on top of that. Chris has the details next in your first alert forecast. Our Call for Action phone bank is open right now, ready to take on your consumer issues. And caller hotline volunteers will help you with any consumer complaints. The number is 608-270-2833. The service is open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 11 and 1. A boost of optimism for the housing market and the holiday shopping season gets one final push. Naomi Ruckham has your Money Watch report.
Home construction in the U.S. spiked 16.9% in December. The jump marks a 13-year high amid a sign of optimism for the longest period of economic growth on record. Housing starts in 2019 increased 3.2% compared to the year before. Google's parent company Alphabet is now a $1 trillion company. It is the fourth U.S. company to hit that milestone, following Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon, which has since fallen below that mark. All four of these big tech companies, along with Facebook, now account for more than 17% of the S&P index. Airbus is one step closer to pilotless commercial aviation. The European manufacturer released a video of one of its test aircraft taking off on autopilot. Airbus says the takeoff was successful after one of its A350 planes was fitted with image recognition technology. Automation has become increasingly important for aircraft manufacturers because of pilot shortages and cost cutting. And tomorrow is National Use Your Gift Card Day. It's a day to nudge us all to spend them before they become part of the $1 billion in gift cards that go unused every year. Some stores and restaurants are even offering special deals. But if you don't think you'll use your gift card, consider donating it to someone in need. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Naomi Ruckham.
Naomi, thank you. Let's check Wall Street afternoon hour. The Dow Industrials up 34 points. The NASDAQ up 6.5. The S&P 500 up almost 7.5. Let's check in now with Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee on this Friday.
Yep, here I am.
Here you are.
Ready to go. Go, Pack, go. Yeah.
I got my Packer tie on. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, I see it. Yep. Very good. Very good. Let's keep that theme going. Yeah, it's a good day all the way around as far as Friday markets are concerned, Mark. Yesterday, I told you that I thought it was a little bit of a premature action when the markets went down. We got the U.S., Mexico, Canada agreement voted on by the Senate yesterday onto the president's desk. Now, initially, what I'm hearing, especially from the dairy industry, it's not going to do a whole lot for us on the short term. But between that and phase one and our China agreement, it does provide us with some long-term optimism about where dairy is going. Now, today in Chicago, corn, soybeans, and wheat, everybody is starting to rally a little bit right now. Our corn market is up 12 cents. We had good export numbers this week, and it looks like we are starting to build momentum and steam for good export numbers next week. So that is some of the positive spin in the marketplace today. Like I said, dairy is continuing to feel good about where our product prices are going. I told you before, and I'll say it again, cheese in particular, from now until Super Bowl Sunday, we'll continue to see good demand on the retail side of things. Today, that's reflected in our barrel cheese price, up another 3 cents at $1.56. 40-pound block cheese on Friday finishes the week 2.25 cents higher at $1.96 1/4, while double-A butter continuing to feel a little of the downward pressure with the holidays absent, down 1 3/4 at $1.88 per pound. But like I said, the good news is everybody's starting to feel a little bit more optimistic now that we've got some of these policy points in play. Next 30 days, we'll know more about exactly what's going to happen with China and their volume. A lot of traders still holding back some of their enthusiasm. They say it's one thing when they book the orders to go to China. It's another thing when we actually start to see that product roll. So once we see the ships leave the port, Mark, that'll be the thumbs up, the green light that things are starting to get back to what I should say, a new normal. So we'll wait on that. But so far, so good for today.
Fingers crossed on that and the big game.
Oh, boy. Yeah, you don't want to talk to me on Monday if it's like it was the last time we went out there.
Well, if it was like last time, no, we're not even going to think about that. All right, have a good weekend. Go Pack.
See ya. Yep, go Pack.
All right, Chris over in the Weather Center, also in his Packer green and yellow gold.
Yeah, I had to support the Pack this week, but I'll tell you what, we've got a lot to talk about in the world of weather. Let's jump on right to it. 3 takeaways. Here comes the storm. We're talking freezing rain overnight and then a big-time blast of cold that's going to come as the storm begins to move away from us. The setup right now features high pressure to our east. That's supplying the cold air. We have 2 storm systems, one over the central plains, one over the high plains. Together, those are supplying the moisture that's coming together, and you see the snow along with the freezing rain in the rain. That's all getting ready to head our direction as we go through time. It's already starting to knock on the door, especially for some of the counties that are right along the Mississippi River Valley, and that, folks, continues to move in as we go through the next couple of hours. Now, one of the things I want to point out is places like Lone Rock, as you work your way towards Iowa County, it seems like there's some snow coming down. but that's not the case. The air is just a little bit too dry for now. So places like Cross Plains, Mount Horeb, and Perry, as you pull out your phone and look at the app and see the radar and there's snow over you, it's not reaching the ground just yet, just because we have a little bit more moisture that we have to add to the air first. 23 degrees right now. Those winds out of the southeast at 16 miles per hour. Wind chill down at 10, but pay attention towards Janesville at 27. We're at 28 for Milwaukee and Kenosha. As these temperatures continue to warm up, we see more moisture starting to work our direction from the south and east. That's what's going to allow the atmosphere to moisten up just enough to see those snowflakes begin to fall. Let's go ahead and time it out. 5 o'clock. This is the start of your evening rush hour. That's when that snow begins to start to work its way in, especially from the south and west. 6 o'clock now, here starts to see a band of heavy snow, or here is a band of heavy snow. That's going to begin to work its way towards the north and east. Folks traveling on the belt line at 6 o'clock, I do believe you're running into some issues. By 8 o'clock, we're still seeing that heavy snow stick around here, and that's going to take us through midnight as well. I want to point out what's happening at 1. You see where this starts to break up a little bit. You see that pink hue starting to show up around the state line. This is where we lose just a little bit of moisture. When you lose that moisture in the atmosphere, you don't get the ice crystals that form snowflakes. So instead, you get freezing drizzle and sleet. That's why I think we'll see freezing drizzle and sleet around the state line as we head through the overnight hours. But still, one of the other things the model begins to point out is just enough warm air that places from Janesville over towards Milwaukee see more sleet and freezing rain. So the snow totals will end up being just a little bit less there. The other thing I want to point out, folks, are the winds. This is 7:30 tonight. Those winds starting to gust upwards towards 30 miles per hour. We'll relax those winds for a time tomorrow. Then it's the back end winds. Those are going to gust close to 40 miles per hour, blowing around any fresh snow that just fell. And watch the visibility. 6:30, visibility down towards half a mile and 0 in some spots. We continue to keep that 0 visibility around through 8 o'clock all the way through 10:30. That's going to take us into the morning. So while the snow totals are not all that impressive, I think you're going to end up with some major impacts in terms of travel. 4 to 6 inches for Madison and points towards the north. 3 to 4 as you work your way towards the south. I have these totals less. That's because I believe that's where we'll see more of a wintry mix. 5 to 7 inches as you work your way towards the north, folks. And again, it's not the numbers to fixate yourselves on. Think of it as a goalpost. 4 to 6, your total is going to be somewhere between there. 3 to 4, your total is somewhere between there. And then as we look ahead, we stay cold, Mark. I mean, really cold. 11 by Sunday. Wind chills by Sunday morning as much as 25 below zero.
Wicked. All right, be careful out there. All right, Chris, thank you. Next at noon, how a star pitcher from California is paving the way for female MLB coaches. Stay with us. Well, a standout softball player in California is now the first female coach in Major League Baseball's history. Rachel Wolf has the story.
That's her when she was just a little tyke.
Gay Nacken takes us back in time to a little girl with a big glove.
It was her love, and it was what she did for 19 years.
Alyssa Nacken was born and raised in Woodland, a standout pitcher for the Woodland Wolves, who at 5'10" was heavily recruited by colleges.
She could hit the ball a country mile to all fields, left and right and center.
Lori Perez was the assistant coach when Nacken played for Sac State. She knew right away Nacken was destined for greatness.
She has that charismatic personality. She has the ability to communicate well. She knows the game.
She watched as Alyssa entered the graduate program at USF, then turned an internship with the San Francisco Giants organization into a paying job. So when Nacken got called to be the first woman to coach on a big league staff, she wasn't surprised, and neither was Alyssa's mother.
And she's always wanted to trailblaze for women.
Nacken knew her daughter had the mental toughness for the job and could handle herself. She had 2 older brothers to keep up with. Even so,
there were a few tears and all that. So yeah, it was just amazing.
She's confident Alyssa will make the transition, and so are her coaches. They predict tough days because telling a male baseball player what to do might not always fly. But Alyssa will succeed.
It's all about knowing your player, knowing what motivates them, speaking the type of language that's going to help motivate them.
And after all the dedication and determination, they know it's a dream come true.
She's worked very hard to get to this type of position, and she really wanted to be an advocate for women and young girls.
Congratulations to her. Snow on the way, Chris?
That's right. Snow is on the way. We're going to watch that increase right around the evening commute time and last through the overnight hours.